there, I am Sylvia and this is Curupisa Crochet. Today I'll show you how to make these beautiful apples so you can complete the Eva bag project. But before we begin, let me invite you to subscribe to my channel where you can find projects and tutorials. Every week I bring to you some ideas for projects that you can make for your home or as a present or maybe for selling. You can see here some of my prototypes for this apple. This first one in pieces, and you can see that I've used solid colors and outlined them in black. First, I downloaded an image with the basic shape as you can see here, and then I traced it in a simpler way. Well, to achieve this apple, first I worked in pieces and joined them together, but I thought at some point that it would be very difficult or a lot of unnecessary work. Here you can see at some point I decided to crochet in rows and change colors, stop joining. Here you can see one row of black yarn, and then I outlined it so I would then join the pieces and have a black neat edge. But then I assumed it was very hard to do. Here you can see the leaves and the stems that I will join later. And you see this piece, I work differently from side to side in rows and changing colors as in working with intarsia or Colorwork or tapestry crochet. For the apple I'll be crocheting in this video, I chose these colors that you can see here and some black yarn, and I suggest you to begin like I'm going to show you right now. For starters, I crocheted a chain base, but in the middle of it I changed colors. So to go to that direction, I started with, you can see here, 3 chains, and now I'll join some yellow yarn, the other one that I will be using, and also chain 3. I chain 1 more stitch to get the height of the row, skip the first chain and do 3 single crochet stitches. That would be double crochet for UK terms. But the third one you don't finish with the same yarn color, you will begin changing colors, this time to do 1 stitch in black. Try not to leave the stitch too loose so it looks neat. And by doing this you get a very neat edge, and those yarn colors won't mix on top of the stitch, the next stitch that would be in black yarn. So in the next chain, start a single crochet stitch with black, but don't finish it with black. Change the color to the blue one, and now you'll have a few stitches more. You have 2 more to make. 1 and 2. You'll think by now that it will be very messy this way, but you'll see that we'll manage to get a neat job done. And you can see here I chose to finish those stitches not with the same color that I've been working with, but with the next one, so it looks better. Let's turn the work. Adjust the stitches, chain 1, and on the first stitch you'll work 1 single crochet stitch and then a second one, but don't do as I did here. Finish it not with blue but with black. This is the wrong side of the work, so you'll pass the yarn to the right by the front of the work and finish that single crochet stitch with black. Then look for the black stitch of the base, begin a single crochet stitch with black, pass the yarn to the right through the front and finish that black stitch with yellow. And now begin working in that yarn color. You'll have 1, 2, and 3 single crochet stitches. Sorry, 4, because you'll have an increase on the last one. That's to say 2 single crochet stitches. Chain 1, once you turn, on the first stitch do an increase, 1 single crochet on the next 2 stitches, and on the other one that's yellow, don't complete it, pass the yarn to the right but by the back of the work, that's the wrong side. Complete the stitch with black, start the single crochet in black but finish it with blue. And always keep the yarn that's not working to the right. When working on the right side, put it on the back, and when working on the wrong side, put it on the front. Turn, chain 1, increase or 2 single crochet stitches, then 3 single crochet stitches. Remember the last one not to finish it with blue but with black, and since it's the wrong side, put the yarn to the front and to the right. Start this black single crochet stitch and finish it with yellow, and now continue with 1, 2, 3 single crochet stitches and an increase on the last stitch of the row. You can see all these yarn tails on the back, but don't worry about it, we'll make it neater when we finish. Turn, chain 1, on the first stitch do an increase or 2 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, 3 and 4 single crochet stitches, and the 5th don't do it complete. This is the right side, so push that yellow yarn to the back and to the right. Complete that 5th stitch with black. On top of the black stitch, begin the black single crochet stitch. Put the yarn to the right and to the back. Finish this stitch with blue, and then continue with blue, working 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the last an increase. So you have 6 single crochet stitches. Turn, chain 1 on the first stitch, 1 increase. On the next blue stitches, all single crochet, 1 on top of the previous one. So you'll have 7. This is the wrong side, so pull the yarn to the right and to the front of the work and complete the stitch with black. You'll see we're getting the shape right now already. And remember, we are working sideways, side to side. Now 1 single crochet. Oops, don't do as I did. I'm always getting it wrong. Put the yarn to the right and to the front and complete that single crochet stitch with yellow. And now look for the first stitch in yellow. Go on with single crochet stitches through to the end of the row. And that's it. So now we've got 7 stitches in each color of the sides. So now I'll switch to 1 row complete in black yarn. So I cut the blue and yellow yarns. Bind off that yellow stitch, and this next row will be all in black yarn. You can use this yarn tail. It's not necessary to cut the yarn and begin here. Do a chain, and while you crochet the next stitches, you can grab that yarn that appears on the back. So it will be 1 single crochet stitch on top of each single crochet stitch of the previous row, so you'll have 15 stitches. And you can see here that how I'm grabbing that yarn so it doesn't show on the other side. See? And I didn't have to cut the yarn and start all over and have more yarn tails to hide them. Well, for the next row, I will be switching to the other 2 colors that I'm using. I'll keep the central black stitch, and for that I won't cut the yarn again. I'll do the same as I did to hide that yarn. And begin inserting the hook and pulling the next yarn that I'll use. It's a lilac one. That bell sound is my kitty, Munchie. Chain 1. When doing that first chain, do it with a short tail and then continue to crochet with the long tail, the working yarn. So now you'll do 7 single crochet stitches in lilac, or the yarn color that you choose. And remember not to finish the last one, the 7th, with the same yarn color, but change it to the black one, so we can keep this line going on. This is the wrong side, so pull the yarn to the front and to the right. And remember not to finish that black stitch with the same yarn color, but change to the next one, which for me it's a coral yarn. So you finish that one and you have those two tails. I advise you to do this first, yarn over with that short tail and continue with the working yarn, so you get a very tight stitch and it doesn't unravel. And now do the next stitches, that's to say 7 more stitches in coral. These got stuck on the right side of the project, so I put it to the wrong side. We are getting to the center part of the apple, so you don't need to chain one. Skip the first single crochet and do 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet stitches, and the 5th one will be that incomplete one that you finish with black one. So what we did at the beginning of this row was a decrease. Now we have less stitches than before. Next will be the black stitch. Finish it with lilac or the next color that you will be using, and then single crochet stitches until you reach the end of the row, and that's it. Now we'll be getting the shape of the top of the apple and the bottom. The coral will be for me the upper part, and now we'll have to do a decrease here. You might chain one and skip the first stitch, and that's your decrease, and do 1 single crochet on top of each single crochet until you get to the black stitch. Since it's the wrong side, you can pull the yarn to the right and to the front. Whoops! Did you see that I am constantly doing that same mistake all over again? Finish that black stitch with the next color yarn. And single crochet stitches to the end, so it's 5 stitches. You might chain one or just pull that loop, skip the first single crochet stitch and do 4 single crochet stitches to get that shaping. And you see we are using increases and decreases to get those curved shapes. I'll unravel that final part of the stitch because I need to switch to black yarn. Now switch to lilac and now do 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6. Chain 1 Once you've turned the work, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I have to switch to black yarn. On the 6th stitch, 1 in black, switch to the next color, and now you will be making. I'm trying to rush here and I get in trouble every time. 1 single crochet stitch, 2, 3, and 4, and an increase, so I add one more single crochet stitch. So now I will be increasing stitches to get the opposite movement. Turn. You can see here we are getting quite the same shape that I've already got. Begin this next row with an increase, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 single crochet stitches. Switch to black yarn. This is the right side, so you pull the yarn to the right and to the back. Black. Complete the stitch with lilac one. Always check that it's quite tight. And then you have 5 single crochet stitches and an increase on the last stitch. Turn for the next row and do an increase, that's to say 2 single crochet stitches close together, and then 1 single crochet on top of each single crochet. Pull the yarn to the right and to the front. Remember, this is the wrong side. And 1 single crochet in black. Complete that single crochet with coral, with the next color. For me it's coral. And continue with 1 single crochet stitch on each stitch, and then turn, chain 1, and work 1 single crochet on top of each stitch in this yarn color. Switch to the black for the central stitch. Now switch to the next yarn color. 1 single crochet on each stitch. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Turn. Skip the first stitch and 1 single crochet on each stitch of the same yarn color. Switch to black. Single crochet the central stitch. Switch to the next color, and now single crochet again, 1 on top of each stitch of the base. Turn, skip the first stitch. You don't need a chain to start the row. Skip the first and then 1 single crochet on each stitch. Change to black. Do that black stitch and complete with the next color. and work 1 single crochet stitch, 3, and here you'll do a decrease again. That's to say, begin 1 single crochet on one stitch and then on the other, and close those two together. Turn, skip the first stitch, 2 and 3 single crochet stitches, switch to black, single crochet, switch to the next color, 1 single crochet stitch, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I think that you can see the apple appearing. Skip the first stitch and do an increase, so you a decrease, sorry. You get this way a double decrease. Let's do it again. So skip this stitch. On this next one, begin 1 single crochet and then on the next one 2, and close those two together. Two more single crochet in this color and then switch to black, and do 1 stitch and then continue with 1 single crochet stitch and a decrease in this lilac color. But pass this last yarn over through the other loops, so you get this neat shape and it doesn't have angles. Well, you can see here we got the basic shape of the apple. Let's compare it to that other piece that I did by joining. You could do as I showed you up to here, but you can also change the position of this black row to one side or the other, or you might even choose to do 2 color blocks, all in one and all in another color, and 1 intermediate black row as I did. Feel free to modify this distribution. Well, you can see I got the same shape almost. Now I'll show you how to complete the project with the leaf and the stem, and we'll join both parts together. Now I'll work on the stem, and for that I'll use this green yarn, chain 9 stitches, skip the first chain and do 1 single crochet stitch on top of each chain. Turn and begin with 1 single crochet stitch, 2 on the second, 3, 4, then 1 half double crochet on the next 2 half double crochet stitches, so it curves. On the next 1 double crochet stitch, and on the last one also 1 double crochet stitch, and that's it. You get that stem that's curved and turns to one side. So I'll place it here on top of the apple, looking to the right, but you can switch to the other side, and here will be the leaf. Just choose one side and then put it as you wish. Now for the leaf, chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, skip the first chain, slip stitch on the first, 1 and 2 single crochet stitches, half double crochet, now 1 double crochet stitch, 2 and 1 half double crochet stitch, 2 single crochet stitches, 1 slip stitch on the last one, chain 2, and on the base of this last stitch will be turning to the other side of the chain. So 1 slip stitch where we did the last slip stitch. Now will be 2 single crochet stitches, 1 half double crochet stitch, 2 double crochet stitches, the second one, 1 half double crochet, 2 single crochet stitches, and 1 slip stitch on the last stitch of this chain base. Clip the yarn and bind off. You can hear my dog chatting with his dog friends. So don't be scared, please. So let's join these pieces together by working that black outlining edge. Grab the black yarn on the first stitch, do a chain with the short tail of the yarn, and then switch to the working yarn, the long tail, and do 1 single crochet stitch on top of each stitch. Ooh, I did that very tight. Then you work on this side and then on the other one. Do 1 single crochet on top of each stitch, but if you feel it's getting too tight, especially on the curved section, feel free to add some stitches. That's what I mean, is do some increases, or manage not to crochet those stitches too tightly. You can see as you crochet if you need to add or not those stitches. Now we're getting to that corner, those 2 chains. On top of those chains you will be making 1 single crochet, 1 chain, and another single crochet stitch to turn to the other side of the leaf, and repeat the same kind of work on the other side of the leaf. See? And also, if you feel you need to add 1 or 2 stitches on the curved part so it doesn't roll, but not too many so it doesn't frill either. Then until you reach the end of this round, here I suggest you, if you feel tight, add some stitches. Now I've reached that first stitch, so in there I do 1 single crochet stitch, 1 chain, and close, join the round with a slip stitch and bind off. Those yarn tails are bothering me, so clip them off. Check the gauge. Well, not necessary, but see if it's tight or loose. And now let's see how to join these to the stem. Before that, I'll weave in that yarn tail because I don't know about you, but I hate weaving in ends when I finish the project, so I tend to do it while I'm still crocheting. Now let's go to the stem. I won't crochet with this black yarn on the lower part of the stem, only on the sides and on top of it. I'll start here, turn and go to the other side, not on this lower part I told you. Begin with 1 chain that you'll do as I did before with the short tail of the yarn so it gets stuck and it doesn't unravel. And then with the working yarn, begin with single crochet stitches, 1 on top of each stitch. Well, in this case it's the chain base. On the corner, 2 single crochet stitches. On top of the stem, you'll find first a single crochet and then a double crochet, so you'll manage to see how many stitches you need to cover that part. On the corner again, 2 single crochet stitches, and now we have the curved part that we want to keep. So on the second stitch you'll increase 1 stitch, and to join the leaf, insert the hook on one of the stitches, placing it in the right position, and begin working as if you were making a single crochet stitch, but going through that edge part of the stitch. Now, I think I'm going 1 stitch prior to that one. So it's like a single crochet stitch, but in the middle of it you have the edge of the leaf. Insert on the next stitch of the leaf and on the next stitch of the stem. Do that single crochet stitch. You do a single crochet stitch and also the seaming, and then continue with the row on one of the stitches. See if you need to put an increase, and then finish there. And now we have to outline the apple and also join the stem to it. I choose to begin on the lower part of the apple, on the bottom. Insert the hook, yarn over, chain with the short yarn tail and continue with a long tail, doing a single crochet stitch on this one. You can begin this round anywhere, and here is where I place the stem. It's the top. If you begin like me in this part, you will be working on the sides of the rows, so you'll see the sides of single crochet stitches, and do 1 single crochet stitch on each of them, except on these turning parts that are curved, where you'll need to do some increases sometimes so you don't get that dome shape. It has to remain flat. So every now and then you'll need to do increases or 2 single crochet stitches on the same base stitch. Here I'm getting to the side of the apple, so I'm not working on the sides of the single crochet stitches but on top of them or in the base, and you'll be making 1 single crochet stitch on top of each single crochet stitch. Oops, I need 1 increase, so I unravel and go on again. Maybe now you will be finding those yarn tails that remained from the first part of the apple. You can grab those yarn tails while working on the edge. Now going to the upper part of the apple, again I have the curved part, so I will need to be making some increases and check that I'm also carrying that yarn tail as I go. Here I'm getting to the top part, the center, where I'll place the stem. To join the stem to the apple, place the wrong side of the stem on facing the wrong side of the apple. Insert the hook on the next stitch of the apple and also on the first stitch of the stem, and work all in single crochet stitches. So you'll do the edge of the apple and also joining the stem to the apple. So continue with working this edge. Remember to increase stitches on the curved parts. You see here I'm getting to the last stitches of this round. And when I finish, I don't join with a slip stitch but pull the yarn that I've cut through the center of the stitch and pass that yarn end from the back to the front of the first stitch of the round, and then again through the center of the last stitch as I did here, and then within that end. Here you see I've finished the piece. It's, as you can see, a bit more complicated than working with a bag because these color work and color changes, but it is also a gratifying kind of work because you see it's a nice piece that you can use to apply to any kind of project. Here you see I've attached it to the bag that I previously made. If you haven't seen it, I'll link in the description box and on top of the video to that one. And well, maybe you can change the thickness of the yarn, do smaller pieces, or maybe, as I already worked in other tutorials, work with plarn, that's to say plastic bag yarn that I like so much. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to check all those tutorials. If you fancied this one, give me a thumbs up and share the video, that would help me lots. And well, I hope to see you the next time with another nice project. Bye bye.